Casino Guitar is back. It's Baxter.
And Jonathan, we're here.
We're here to talk about something that's surprised and confused all of us. It's Eric Clapton. We love Eric Clapton. If you don't like Eric Clapton, just change the channel now. But or don't, or watch and maybe learn a little bit, and you might love it. But he had a guitar, one of his 1954 Hardtail two-tone Sunburst Stratocasters that he played on a lot of recordings. Went up for auction.
Yes.
And the opening bid price was, the opening reserve was going to be $1 million. The auction closed, 0 bids put.
Crazy.
That is crazy. Because it was just last year that Sir David Gilmour's guitar sold for how much?
$3.9 million, I believe I read. It's
a lot of money. I think this whole that whole lot went for like $25 million, like a bunch of guitars and great pieces.
That is a lot of money.
But we're talking about Slowhand here.
Right.
This is this guitar is in a lot of the great recordings from the 70s. He picked this guitar up in the 70s, and it was an open G tuning.
Played a lot of slide on this one, right?
It's only slide.
Yep, only slide.
Only slide. This was his slide machine, and he it's on a lot of great recordings, but nobody bought it. Was the price too high? Or are there other like nefarious reasons behind this? I don't know. We could create like some fake news story here and be like, well, this is why I didn't. But no, we're just kind of fascinated, like, because guitars have been selling rapidly across the country. This has been the biggest selling guitar year in the history of guitar sales. And last year was some of the biggest selling auctions for David Gilmour's and a few others. And we just had recently some of Van Halen's guitars. I think they sold 3 of them. The highest one went for like $220. And then I just saw Kurt Cobain had a smashed up Stratocaster that sold for over $150,000. Literally destroyed. I mean, that's not $1 million.
I was going to say, still not less than $1 million, but...
You can buy 10 destroyed guitars or one really great guitar.
One really awesome guitar.
And then one of the other funny thoughts, music is when. What's this fellow's name again?
Tyler.
Yeah, I know, we all know Tyler. Great channel, check it out if you haven't seen it before, Music is When. He was able to demo it and play it and sort of show this guitar on his channel too to prospective buyers. Yeah. Well, apparently people that watch all these silly YouTube channels do not have $1 million to buy these guitars.
Or it'd be gone now. So do you think that in a collector's perspective, not blaming Tyler at all, because if I had the chance to go play a guitar like that, I would be there immediately, but do you think that brought the value down because you couldn't say, hey, the last person to play this was Clapton?
I mean, we can say yes, but I don't think so. I can't see how in any rational person's brain that's buying this guitar actually thought Eric Clapton was the last person to physically touch this guitar and play it.
Even though I feel like they said that, right? Didn't they? Wasn't that like, was that a thing? I'm making it up.
Clearly, I think they did say that, but it had to be clearly handed to like a tech or the auctioneer. The house had to actually hold it. Just check the guitar once more to make it in working order.
Yes.
So there's no way that Clapton's hands would last. But I think that there's a little bit of weird...
Like a psychological...
There is a psychological... Like, I wouldn't want to buy, like, Joe Satriani's guitar and then have me demo it first. I mean, like, if Joe was actually selling it, I wouldn't want to see Baxter, like, trying to play something from Surfing with the Alien on it terribly, which I loved that record as a child. That and Stevie Ray Vaughan, those were, like, my guys. It was weird.
Good guys.
But no, it sort of opens up a whole other like wider question of like Clapton we were talking about too, and like,
and maybe the better theory is I know that when I'm watching YouTube, as I do,
you do quite a bit,
I see lots of Clapton hate.
That doesn't compute to my brain.
It doesn't to me either, because I love Eric Clapton.
And like our whole philosophy on this channel is like everything positive, shut up and play guitar. And the idea of like not liking one of the gods of electric guitar and acoustic guitar playing
just generally
baffles me. So what? So you think that maybe?
I just wonder if he's out there so much. It's such a debated topic. It seems to me like a David Gilmour, guys like that. There's still a bit of this reverence for them as players, and I feel like somehow that is lost a little for Clapton, especially on YouTube and just in the comment section. That's just the vibe I get. I don't understand it, because for me, Clapton was my first sort of like guitar hero, guitar guide.
I mean, there's some possibilities to like a bit of the, I guess. I mean, even the video we watched this morning with Clapton and Sheryl Crow and Vince Gill. And when you're watching all these, this was 2007.
Right.
Phenomenal playing. So we were like, we wanted to sort of watch some Clapton playing sort of through all the periods as we sort of prepared for this. And but they're all wearing like shorts and T-shirts and button-down like Jimmy Buffett shirts, and it's not cool.
I think it's definitely. I mean, the playing is amazing. That's
playing
cool.
is amazing.
But when you just see him, you're like, oh, it's a bunch of dads who got together at the barbecue and are having a jam. Yeah.
And we're dads, so we're making fun of ourselves
totally, yes,
brutally.
absolutely.
But no, it doesn't look right. Vince Gill, I mean, like he was one of the best guitar players and one of the best country singers ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Ever. And he's looking ridiculous. You know, it's like, hey, you're getting on stage and like you're presenting your music. Let's put on some pants.
And I mean, you know, on one hand, I get it because like they are normal, down to earth guys. On the other hand,
but they're not. They're the best in the world.
Right. Well, when you want to pay $1 million for this piece of iconic rock and roll history, those two things, I don't know how well they marry.
If I had $1 million, I would. I would buy Clapton in a minute. Now, part of the other maybe story of this guitar is it's not Brownie, it's not Blackie.
Right. That's a big thing too.
It's like, you know, is it a number 3 even? It's because he sort of shifted over to the lace sensors in his drive guitars, and it's a very different type of Fender. But this was sort of a peripheral of Clapton's core. But again, another devil's advocate of that argument, it's a 1954 hardtail.
I would think just based on that, I don't know, but
that
then
puts you in the 6 figures right there alone.
Right.
But you know, you are asking a high surplus cost on top of for Claptons. It's tricky.
So what do you think, if they had it to do over, what do you think they should have started the bidding at?
I think $500,000.
I think that would probably have been smart.
I think you would have gotten to 1.5.
Yeah.
I think it would have, because once, if you've ever started to grow. Yeah, if you've been in an auction situation, like we do auctions to buy guitars, I like auctions. I think it's fun. I know the people at some great auction houses in North Carolina. I'm not going to say their names because then you'll start going there. I'm just kidding. Little and Associates. They're really great. Nice people. And it just smells great there, and the photographers are great. Derek would love to go there to see their whole photo setup. It's really neat. But auctions create like a passion and a frenzy for guitar buying, and I think it just started too high. I think they could have created a little bit more of what you were saying, mystique around it. Because like slide guitar in itself, to me, also has a bit of magic. Yeah. Like when you think of Dwayne Allman and Derek Trucks, there's almost like a mysticism, wizardry on how they do that.
It's like weird voodoo, yeah.
I don't understand how they do it. So I play slide. I don't play slide like them.
That, no. You know? We like make little notes. Like instead of our fingers, it's a little bar.
Look,
that's
I'm
what
an
we
open
do,
E tuning. Look at me. I can play like the E chord, and now the A chord and the B chord, and I can play notes on the 12th and 14th fret. And
it's not like magic angels singing to unicorns.
I just don't like
when
them
they do it. Yeah.
Either. I could go on a whole tirade of why I hate Derek Trucks, because he's so good and he's so nice. But no, because this guitar came with like the pedigrees of his guitar tech from '79 and everything. Like he signed it, Clapton signed it, Crossroads Festival signatures. It has it all. It's one of those rare. There's not many of these guitars at all in the world. Right. The amount of 54 Strats in great condition in the world are slim. The amount of hardtails, way down there, slimmer. Yeah. So, but it is tricky. The YouTube generation has changed, and what you were saying, like perhaps like. I've seen a lot of artists that sort of shift over to like blues only, which Clapton has done, and he's sort of gotten out of the commercial pop world, which he was the king of up until like almost 2000. Right. Like all through the 90s with the Journeyman, and I'm Riding with the King when he sort of shifted over to blues. That was still like a huge pop crossover hit, but it's been 2 decades. Yes. And it's I think the mystique of Clapton will be relearned once artists actually dig deep into like that early stuff again, because like we're hearing all the later stuff, which is wonderful because he's helped bring and reinvigorating the blues, but it's the same as it's not bringing in the allure of Cream, right? And and Derek and the Dominoes.
You know how much I love Derek and the Dominoes. I mean, I listen.
I'm a John May on the Blues Breakers nut too.
Right.
Like that record with Clapton is just insane. Like the sound of that Les Paul and his Blues Breaker amp. It's one sitting right behind me too. To my right. I think that's like, and then that's almost something we want to talk about too in this conversation, is getting younger people to go discover Clapton, because he's not as flashy. He's not outwardly like like Eddie Van Halen, or not even Stevie Ray Vaughan like flourishes of speed, or Joe Bonamassa's Dorian expositions of majesty that he can do. It's
That was a great description.
I prepared that.
I enjoyed that. But his phrasing is so good. He always seems to play the perfect phrase. His touch and his feel. It's just he's a master.
I would say it's incomprehensible to try to go down the role of blues guitar playing and not touch upon Clapton's abilities. And to say that he doesn't have speed is insane. Like,
yes,
because he just doesn't use it all the time. He is the master of, using it when he needs to. He pulls out that flamethrower when he's got to burn your face off, and he could do it.
And he can, yeah.
And like even like all through like his, because I remember seeing him on the Journeyman tour, and I was like, he's opening with "Sunshine of Your Love," which is like the coolest thing ever. You're seeing Clapton play, wearing his like blazer and his like turquoise T-shirt or whatever he was wearing,
yeah,
and his like sort of longish hair, and his beard is always beard. But I mean, when he rips into the flourishes, unbelievable. And his vibrato alone,
it's so good.
That was like, I spent years just working on it, because I just I did like the sort of fast hummingbird vibrato. And I was like, oh, how does he do this? And I teach my students or anybody I get to sit down with, like, let me just show you how Clapton did it. So and that alone will help sell his guitars for more money. No, but it's we hope that through like this discussion, like, we want to hear your stories and your experiences with Clapton. And we use this to sort of trigger off the discussion on like his playing and his abilities. I mean, we don't need to do a whole video on Clapton because he's like, clearly is a god.
He's Eric Clapton, right?
Of guitar playing, and we all know about Clapton. But his playing, if you haven't heard it, you haven't discovered it, get into it.
Maybe you think you've heard it, but go dig deep.
Like Lay Down Sally isn't it?
No,
that's just like a scratch. Right. I like to use that example. It's like, is this country? I don't know what it is. It's just sort of like AM radio Clapton, but it's a great song.
I mean, it's cool, but that's not Clapton.
Wonderful Tonight is not it either. That was a that's sort of like an introduction to that sort of pop aspect. Listen to the early stuff, and if you have an extra $1 million, you might be able to get a 1954 Eric Clapton Hardtail Strat.
It's true.
I would do it. I would do it in a second.
Making it for steel now like 900,000.
That was funny. That made me laugh. So let us know your thoughts.
We would love to know, what do you guys think about Clapton? Are we crazy? Tell us in the comments. Pretty sure we're not. I'm pretty sure Clapton is awesome. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't so far. Click the bell so you don't miss our videos in the future. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.